45 or more by cap. Prove that hip-hop lives, they deceived you with rap, deceived you with language, deceived you with maps, deceived you with civil rights, abandoned the human ones. No rights for child abuse by the pedophilians. Hope making visits to apologize to natives who really are the foreigners. Watch the pre-shapeshift, change form. We call him he, she, him, her. To make the Bible unfold with no timber. Rock the stretch daily, keep the joints limber. Even Korean men corrected from our cinder. You can't hide truth from a hardcore student. Black means death in the science of jurisprudence. In law, that's black status, dead civilly. All Moors are active, no passivity. No matter what you said, don't care what you saw. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter what you show or told me before. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter the games you play, no matter the score. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter if he's killed a cop, shattered his jaw. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. 101 questions, multiple lessons, study like constant, you mean? I thought I was done rhyming, but had to bring it back. Like Jordan in 45 or more by cap. Prove that hip-hop lives, they deceived you with rap, deceived you with language, deceived you with maps, deceived you with civil rights, abandoned the human ones. No rights for child abuse by the pedophilians. Hope making visits to apologize to natives who really are the foreigners. The pre-shapeshift, change form. We call him he, she, him, her. To make the Bible unfold with no timber. Rock the stretch daily, the joints limber. Even Korean men correct from our cinder. Can't hide truth from a hardcore student. Black means death in the science of jurisprudence.
There goes that. Peace, Moors, Islam. Study, study, study. Study, study, study. The more study, they find out stuff. They find out stuff that people don't want to talk about. You have to ask yourself, why? Why won't they be talking about this? Why won't they be talking about this? I would think this is something you want to bring up. I'm just saying. You might want to let people know what's going on. 103rd General Assembly, State of Illinois, 2023 and 2024. HB 3766, introduced by Rep. Justice Slaughter. Synopsis as introduced. New Act. Creates the Illinois Moorish American Family Commission Act. Creates the Illinois Moorish American Family Commission to advise the Governor and General Assembly, as well as work directly with state agencies to improve and expand existing policies, services, programs, and opportunities for Moorish American families, children, and adults, and guide the efforts of and collaborate with state agencies, including but not limited to Department of Aging, Department of Children and Family Services, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, Department of Corrections, Department of Human Services, Department of Healthcare and Family Services, the Department of Public Health, Department of Transportation, Department of Employment, Security, and others. Sets forth provisions concerning the members of the Commission, funding, addresses, and reports and oversight. Provides that administrative, technical, and staffing support for the Commission shall be provided by the Commission on Equity and Inclusion, effective immediately. A bill for A bill for an act concerning government, be it enacted by the people of the state of Illinois, represented in the General Assembly. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Illinois Moorish American Family Commission Act. Section 5, creation purpose. The Illinois Moorish American Family Commission is created for the purpose of doing all of the following: advise the governor and General Assembly, as well as work directly with state agencies to improve and expand existing policies, services, programs, and opportunities for Moorish American families, children, and adults, guide the efforts of and collaborate with state agencies, including but not limited to Department on Aging. We read all that already. This shall be achieved primarily by monitoring and commenting on existing and proposed legislation and programs designed to address the needs of Moorish Americans in the state, assisting state agencies in developing programs, services, public policies, and research strategies that will expand and enhance the social and economic well-being of Moorish American children, families, and adults, facilitating the participation of and representation of Moorish Americans in implementation and planning of policies, development programs, and services, and promoting research efforts to document the impact of policies and programs on Moorish American families. The work of the Illinois Moorish American Family Commission shall include the use of existing reports, records, research, and planning efforts, procedures, and programs. The commission shall include the following members: the governor or his or her designee, the lieutenant governor or his or her designee, the Speaker of the House of Representatives or his or her designee, one member of the House of Representatives appointed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the President of the Senate or his or her designee, one member of the state appointed by the President of the state, the Minority Leader of the House of Representatives or his or her designee, one member of the House of Representatives appointed by the Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, the Minority Leader of the Senate or his or her designee, one member of the Senate appointed by the Minority Leader of the Senate, Secretary of State, Attorney General, State Comptroller, State Treasurer, Cook County Board President, Mayor of the City, Department of Aging, Department of Children and Family Services, Department of Commerce, Opportunity, Department of Corrections, Department of Human Services, Department of such other officers as provided by law or by county ordinance under subsection C of Section 4 of Article 7 of the Illinois Constitution, wherein a Moorish American resides or may have reason to travel to or through, shall each appoint a liaison to serve ex officio on the commission. The commission shall include the following: Moorish Americans appointed by the governor, the Grand Governor or Governoress of Illinois for Moorish Science Temple of America, the Grand Sheik or Sheikess of every lawfully chartered subordinate temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America within the state or his or her designee, two members of each lawfully chartered subordinate temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America within the state, selected by the Grand Sheik or the governor of the subordinate temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Each member under subsection A shall have a working knowledge of human services, community development, and economic public policies in the state, and must complete training on Moorish American culture and Moorish American diversity, equity, and inclusion no later than the opening of the first meeting of the commission. Appointment term chairperson, blah, blah, blah. Now, the question that comes up, one, their connection to Representative Justin Slaughter, this bill being able to be put on the floor. But the point that they're having a Moorish American Family Commissions Act. And Raleigh told these Moors enforce Constitution every day, all day. Enforce the Constitution. Raleigh told these Moors, be careful, Moors, with some of your own. Put you right back into slavery. So if they are riding with Illinois Constitution, and then through Illinois Constitution, they're creating an Illinois Moorish American Family Commissions Act, then obviously these people been known about Moorish Americans. But then again, this is Chicago. So what do you expect? What do you expect? How about all these other jurisdictions? We get Chicago. Noble Drew Ali was there in the 20s. We ain't concerned about Chicago. We come from the era where Moors had Chicago on lockdown in 08. Moors were going to and fro with their own tags. No pullover, no stops, no tickets, no court dates, nothing. Moors could just be themselves. Go down, put their nationality card, and they're having no issues. Zero issues. What really has to be looked at, the same way when they were celebrating Morocco Day. They're celebrating Morocco Day, and then Moorish Science Temple of America near Philadelphia got a personal invite to go to Morocco Day as the representatives for the Moors. And then they didn't tell anybody about it. They just went with their temple. And then Moors had to find out after. Now when you pull up these Moors, Moorish Science Temple of America 25, and you go on their site, there ain't nothing coming up. They don't have a site. So there's a lot of things that are in question here. Because why would Moors need to go to the state of Illinois to start or have a Moorish American Family Commission? Why don't they just do it amongst themselves? If they already have governors and grand sheiks and all that, why are they going to these fake governors to look like something's going on? Because remember, they're not government. U.S. and all that, they're not government. So why are these Moors going to them? If U.S. is bankrupt and all that, if U.S. is a corpse, U.S. is a corpse, governor for U.S., whatever state, is de facto. Attorney General for whatever state is de facto. What else they have on the list? Lieutenant Governor, U.S. de facto. House of Representatives, part of U.S. de facto. Speakers de facto. The President of the Senate is de facto. The Senate's de facto. Minority leader being on the committee definitely makes this committee de facto, because why would there be a minority leader in the Moorish American thing? Unless these Moorish Americans are minorities too. And if these Moorish Americans are minorities, then they're not Moorish Americans. If they're not Moorish Americans, they're a minority, then why are they calling this Moorish American thing? If a minority leader of the Senate, the minority leader of the Senate is the minority leader of the House of Representatives is gonna appoint a member of the House of Representatives, and the minority leader of the Senate is going to be part of this Moorish commission. You seeing the hypocrisy that's going on here? Right, so one, you can see that they're keeping it secret because one, they are concerned about letting people know that they know who the Moorish Americans are. There's that side of it. And then the Moors who are involved with it, keeping it quiet because they know that once it comes out, Moors going to be going through this stuff with a fine-tooth comb and seeing what this thing is about. Because why would Moors put themselves under an act? If an act is not law, if an act is de facto, then why would some de jure people put themselves in a de facto jurisdiction? Why would they put themselves in a de facto position? Now let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. We've been going over this one, the Moorish Guide 2005. Just so we can get a perspective of where Moors were at around 2005. Where were Moors at? Majority of us, we just got in this 2, 3, 5, 7 years ago. What was going on in 2005? What was the perspective that Moors had? Were they going to de facto people to get bills from them so that they can be themselves? Moorish guideposts, autumnal equinox issue. The Moorish Divine and National Movement. All Moorish Americans, sheiks, master masons, Eastern stars, magi, historians, royal adepts, amanuensis masters, scholars, neophytes of the world history in general are sincerely and resolutely advised to read, analyze, and review these 3 important Al-Moroccan documents. These documents are fundamental information and directional tools spoken of and written by Noble Drew Ali, Nabi and founder of the Moorish Divine and National Movement in North America. The Moorish Divine and National Movement is the social and political parent and genesis for the Old Canaanite Temple, 1913 AD, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, 1925 AD, and the Moorish Science Temple of America, 1928 AD. All of these orders and other unnamed orders of active Moors come under the social and political parental umbrella of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. The expanded activities of conscious Moors all over the land were and are rooted in this great birthrights-generated Moorish movement. The 3 Moorish documents, which are the subject of this writing, are a few amongst others, and were redundantly represented to the unconscious Moors of North America circa the early 1920s up to the present days. Thusly, thousands of unconscious Moors thinking that they were blacks, Negroes, colored folks, etc., became conscious Moors and active in the cause of uplifting their people. The philosophies, instructions, and activities which these documents projected were coupled with the statement made by Noble Drew Ali, which was repeated in variable forms to this effect: I want active, not passive Moors. Moors were taught the truth about their nationality and birthrights, and were further instructed to produce literature to change the stagnated and ignorant state of mind of the people, and for all conscious Moors to assist in their redemption of their own people. In order to keep Moors active, progressive, and informed, Noble Drew Ali on a national basis, Noble Drew Ali founded, funded, established, and produced a national newspaper. Called the Moorish Guide. If those who notice the absence of the great newspaper which the Prophet founded for the Moorish movement are wondering why there is no Moorish Guide newspaper, then review the release and redacted United States federal government paperwork which is available to all scholars and historians. From these, one can read between the lines and deduce the nature and the origin of the opposition which Noble Drew Ali had to deal with among some of the Moors who infiltrated the temples during the late 1920s. Every attack made upon Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish movement was and is an attack against the Moorish nation and the rightful progress of the natural peoples. There has always been ongoing debates and controversies among the natural people whenever revealing and impacting information was or is exposed to a naive and passive public. The Moorish divine and national movement and the broad array of knowledge, law, history, and philosophy which it fostered inspired and encouraged zealous and positive activities and studies amongst the people. The Moorish movement created and generated a definite change for the positive for a people who have traditionally been taught not to question anything which they have been taught by those who claim to have authority over their lives, etc. The Moorish movement brought about a higher standard of self-knowledge and inspired and informed courage among the people to question areas of government, corporations, and institutions which are arrogantly, though falsely, secured, immune from question. The Moorish movement brought about a higher standard of self-knowledge and inspired and informed courage among the people to question areas of government, areas of corporations and institutions which are arrogantly, though falsely secured, immune from question. With the truth about the Moorish nationality and birthrights institutionally exposed, Moorish divine and national movement, the otherwise exclusive knowledge and history was filtered down to a suppressed and misguided people. The alien and occupational elite Europeans moved to counter the Moorish movement by political and religious design. The ancient culture and history was, for generations, not to be revealed to the masses or spoken of in public. The Moors held under the black Negro brands were not to be availed such knowledge, due to the fact that Europeans, falsely claiming to be Americans, Europe and the Americas are absolutely different, having separate jurisdictions. Europeans have politically conquered and occupied the land, North America, and have usurped and undermined the republican form of the Great Seal, Sea Pyramid, government, the truth about Moorish nationality and birthrights, and the Moors' rightful connection to the former, yet undermined legitimate government. Such vital history and information has been hidden and or deleted from contemporary history books. Discussions about these facts have also been a source of heated debates, diversion, and revealing controversy. In order to change the people, you must change their literature. Another common source and part of the said Moorish controversy has been and is predominantly rooted in distracting debates as to whether the Moorish movement is merely and only a religious-oriented organization, and of the falsely proposed position that civic-natured activities are in contradiction to Noble Drew Ali's instructions. This is directly from the Master Teachers, 2005. Some Moorish Americans having a position of authority in the movement have claimed to the public that the Moorish divine and national movement has no civic agenda for teaching Moors to be better citizens, and thus there have been little or no standard establishment of Moorish schools. Right, for all the Moors out there who's talking about, well, where am I supposed to go to find out about the what? Well, there's supposed to be Moorish schools. There was supposed to be, the same way you see everywhere there's a liquor store, a vape store, a weed store, you're supposed to see a Moorish school everywhere. Because what was needed at that time. That's what was needed. Imagine what's needed now. Imagine what's needed now. Some of these people's children out here, they're in high school, they have grade 4 reading level right now. Because you know, they don't answer phones. They don't answer emails from teachers messaging them to let them know that whoever John and Ray is messing around. They're answering no emails. Right? Same thing with the commission people. Noble Drew Ali transition, there was supposed to be Moorish everything for the Moors. Moorish whatever. You name it. You name it, there should have been a Moorish one of those for you right now, waking up, getting into this consciousness, and you're going to the Moorish whatever. And then if it was really on point, you would have been born Moorish, knowing who you are, with your El Bay or whatever. Take particular note of the negative cessation of the Moorish Guide national newspaper. Calculate the effects of the lack of an organized practice of teaching law and history. Thusly, one sees little or no organized instructing of the newly conscious Moors in the universally known disciplines which are relative to national governmental principles. So again, we were supposed to be getting out of the womb as Moors, going to Moorish schools. You fall down, scrape your knee because you have a bike. Your bike came from the Moorish department store. Your doctor is Moorish doctor, and we're going to get your knee looked at and you'll be all right when you leave here. Oh, you want to go learn? Oh, you're going to go to the Moorish daycare the Moorish kindergarten, Moorish junior high school, Moorish high school, Moorish college, community college, Moorish trade school, Moorish university. That's what should have been going on. That's what we should have been walking into. And then, if we didn't come out the womb conscious that we're Moors, we would have been seeing so many Moors out here that we would want to know what the hell this thing's about. If these Moors stuck to the job. Right. But anything, for what are we gonna do right now? You can't understand what's going on. You have to understand what's going on. And to understand what's going on, you have to know how you got where you got. And we didn't get in this place as Moors, and we're looking around and we can't see shit that has to do with Moors. Nothing at all. Unless you do it yourself. There ain't nothing out there that for Moors. That a Moor did that we say, oh yeah, that's a Moorish thing. Unless they did it in their lifetime. That was purposefully done so we can be in this place right now that there's nothing Moorish. All the stuff that Juali had in his time, all these different Moors, you get a Moorish guide, all these different Moorish companies and all that stuff. What happened to all those? They just said that they're, well, no, Juali died, so we're shutting our business down? We're not being Moors? We're going to go back to be black or something? It's mind-boggling. Vatican's been along just as long as Moorish movement. And when you look at where Moorish movement is and where Vatican is, there's a big difference. When both of them are the same, set up the same, have the authority to, right? The Vatican's in Italy and Rome and all that stuff, and that's modern European jurisdiction. They do what they want. They have their own jurisdiction to do what they want. We have our own jurisdiction, Moroccan Empire. We can't do jack. Everybody's usurping our stuff. Everybody's cheating our stuff. Everybody's playing foreigner in our land, ruling over us. And then we're over here playing Negro black colored games. On top of playing Negro black colored games, we're playing Moorish anything is religious, and we're Islamic. So we need to go to the mosque. Let's go pray so we can get our stuff back. Because Allah who's going to give us our salvation. Question: how can the Moorish Americans take their place among the affairs of men if they are not made knowledgeable about the law of the land and of international laws as recognized by the families of nations? Real simple, real easy. If Moors were taught, like Noble Ali said, enforce the Constitution. Oscar the priest said, Constitution must be taught in every school, from the lowest level to the highest level. Constitution must be taught. Refused to learn about that. So now you don't even know what the law of the land is, much less what law is. And then not knowing what law is, then you're done for. Because law governs all events. So you play games in the 1900s, 1920s, Juali comes, he gets assassinated, 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, right up until now, all the international people are teaching through UN declarations of rights of indigenous people, rights of a child, rights of human beings, that everybody has a right to a nationality. And our people want absorb and be part of every single right except the right to a nationality. And I want to know how come they still get murdered in the street. Because you don't have a nationality. And Moore's been telling people this for 100 years, and they're still playing Negro black colored games. Which is why we're going through this, to show you that you better do it yourself. If you want something Moorish, stop sitting back waiting for some whoever, because it's probably going to be a charlatan that you're going to make your leader. It's probably going to be some trader or sellout that you make your leader. And that's orchestrated to go like that. That's set up to go like that. Which is why Moors need to find themselves with other Moors and organize amongst yourselves where you're at. They know all these Moors going to live anywhere. That's not happening in real life. These people leave wherever and go wherever for the Moors. What are they supposed to do when they get there? Just sit there, sit on their hands? You got jobs for these people or something that they're leaving wherever they're at to go where you're at? It would be wiser to get with the Moors where you're at. And then if there's no Moors where you're at, then you find some Moors that have something going on. That's like Umar with the school. Yeah, give me all your finance so we have a school. Okay, now you have a school and then nothing's going on. Why is nothing going on? I thought the whole point was that this building. Oh well, now we gotta get finance for teachers. Now we gotta get finance for what is going on here? Moors weren't taught the truth. So because we're not taught the truth, now we're going to go to Chicago and House of Representatives and all this, some de facto people, to go get some bill from them. Instead of us just organizing amongst ourselves. If we're going to them for anything, it's for restitution. Because everybody knows the Moors are owed a debt to the world or by the world. Because ain't nobody wouldn't be anybody if it wasn't for the Moors. They wouldn't have Spanish if it wasn't for Arabic. And they wouldn't have Arabic if it wasn't for Latin. Stuff is crazy. But it's also sane. When you sit back and look at the chaos, you realize that it's organized. And you realize that, damn, this is where everything's supposed to actually be at. We're supposed to be right here, right where we're at right now. Having this knowledge right now, knowing the truth about our nationality and birthrights after so many people tried to hide it and deny it. And we're here with it now. And we know. Going back again to these Moors who are doing something with their nationality and their birthrights, not sitting on their ass waiting for some grand whoever savior to come do something for them. They know those days are over. This is about what are you going to be doing? What are you doing? What are you doing for this? What about what somebody else is doing or not doing? What are you doing? Amongst those who misrepresent the Moorish movement by disingenuous control, deletion is a practice. Don't be surprised when experiencing this anomaly within some of the Moorish organizations. Do not confuse, this is bold, big letters, highlight, underline, stars, and all that stuff around it so you don't mess this up. Do not confuse those who misrepresent the Moorish movement with the true programs as established by Noble Drew Ali merely upon the premise that they may be in charge of an organization which uses or says the name Moorish, American, Just like we said. Don't be confused because you go to some bill, HB 3766, and you see that Illinois is creating a Moorish American Family Commission Act. And they say, oh my God, they said Moorish American. So that means that they're for the Moors and they love the Moors. No. Why would you think that? Why would you think that? Oh, because you weren't taught. You weren't taught these lessons. You weren't taught. You weren't taught. Do not confuse those who misrepresent the Moorish movement with the true programs as established by Noble Drew Ali, merely upon the premise that they may be in charge of an organization which uses a name which says Moorish American. Don't because you see fezzes, don't be confused and think, oh yeah, those are Moors over there. Brothers, a long time and all that stuff. Don't think because she's sexy that it's a woman. You better go check, because it's effed out here right now. Trust no one. Only thing you could rely on is self. If one would wonder or desire to have a clear knowledge, understanding, focus, and purpose about the Moorish divine and national movement in North America, then study the words of the prophet and founder of the Moorish movement. If you desire to have a clear knowledge, understanding of the focus and purpose in the Moorish divine and national movement, then study the words of the prophet and founder of it. Study what he says. You're listening to him and her and all these different people out here. Only way you're listening to them, the only way you're listening to them is to compare what they're saying with Drew Ali's words to see if they're on point. We're not challenging Noble Drew Ali. He came, saw, and conquered, left a mark. So anybody could go and check to see what's up. And then you check, you'll see what's up. The founder and prophet of the Moorish movement, that's who set the standard. And anybody else you're listening to, anybody else that you're listening to, their knowledge that they're presenting to you better be in harmony with Noble Drew Ali. If it's not, don't trust these people. It is therefore presented and subscribed in the best interest of the people to read these documents for themselves instead of being preoccupied with non-productive debates. Keep in mind that Noble Drew Ali stated with bold and firm authority, with finance being made available by the prophets, by the people's dues, that every temple must have a school. Keep in mind that Noble Drew Ali stated with bold and firm authority, with finance being made available by the people's dues, that every temple must have a school. For those honorable few who have the courage, with a willing heart and mind, and wanting to assist in the great work to uplift fallen humanity, we present these key documents: divine warning by the prophet for the nations, prophet makes plea to the nation, Moorish leaders' historical message to America. For those Moors who want progress and prosperity, to be an active part of Moorish organizations, these document readings should allay many of the unfounded issues of controversy. These evidentiary materials are forwarded for your rational, scientific, historical, and unbiased examination. So take these Noble Drew Ali lessons and prove them wrong, and I bet you can't. And when you can't prove them wrong, then obviously this is where you're supposed to be at. Stop playing around. Right? So prove him wrong. These three major social, political, Al-Moroccan documents unerringly embody the true will, purpose, and theme of the Moorish divine and national movement, and do so with clarity and resolve. After reading these documents, no opinionated distortions, vague beliefs, unfounded debates, or feigned claims of misunderstandings about the functional purpose of the Moorish national cause and movement can be honestly justified. Which means they're a liar if they're not going with Noble Drew Ali. They're a liar. After reading these documents, Prophet's plea to the nation, divine warning by the Prophet for the nations, and Moorish leaders' historical message to America. After reading just those three documents, there's more stuff that Noble Drew Ali bought. We're saying just these three right here. You just read these three, and there will be no opinionated distortions, because now you read the facts, so you don't have to have an opinion anymore. Vague beliefs, again, because you read the facts from the Prophet himself, so there's no need to be vague. Unfounded debates or feigned claims of misunderstandings. All these whoever's out here that want to play that they don't know the truth about nationality and birthrights. When you go check all of them, all of their master teachers or whatever studied under a Moor. All these people's master teachers studied under a Moor. And then they're playing, they're having no connection to it because they're Islamic. Oh, we're Islamic, so I'm not a Moor because Moors are Islamic. These three scripts have no doubt. Therefore, if any Moorish American sheikh, any scholar, any teacher or student, by way of implication in any verbal or written form, attempts to misrepresent the Moorish movement or to deny its true purpose of establishment in North America, one has only to refer to Noble Drew Ali's own written and documented words for proper and definitive civic and directional guidance. Peace on earth and goodwill to all men. Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey. So we know that Moors are going to be out here doing the best with what they have. But be careful, Moors. Because some of the Moors doing the best with what they have don't have full knowledge of what they have. So they might start doing things and then you get excited and then you jump on their bandwagon or whatever like that over the cliff. And they're complaining about the Moors did, the Moors did. No, no, no. That's that one individual that you let coax you onto going on the bandwagon, going over the cliff with him. That was your bad. Because you should have already saw that they're going in the direction of the cliff. That's why they always tell you, look ahead. You know, they tell you in driving school and all that stuff, look ahead. You'll be looking at speedometers and all that stuff. Look up there, make sure you know what's going on. So you don't get caught off guard. You know that it's about being active, and Moors sink. Oh, well, Noble Drew Ali said, go to those who know law and the officials in the government. So we're going to go to the governor, and we're going to go to the Senate, and we're going to talk to the mayor, and we're going to, because, you know, well, because nothing. They're not government. What do you mean Drew Ali said, go to those who are in government, and you're telling me about mayors and all that? What mayor? What government is a mayor part of? What government? Not no mayor of modern Europeans in America. Maybe some mayor of some country where people have nationalities. Maybe a mayor there might mean something. These de facto mayors here. These de facto heads of state. They aren't the government. So this you know, something like this doesn't do anything for Moorish Americans, because they're only doing these contracts with Moorish Americans so they don't have to go home. If Moorish Americans are saying, no, we're going to set up our own Moorish American Family Commission, and then that's what the bill is. The bill is letting them know. The bill is letting the state of Illinois know that these Moors are setting up their own Moorish American Family Commission, so don't bother those Moors when after they set up their stuff that, you know, they got to come to you for something. Right? That's what should be going on if they got to connect like that. To have Justin Slaughter introduce this bill, mention Moorish Americans and all that stuff, but then they're telling them, oh yeah, well, you know, the commission has to have all the de facto people and minorities on it, and then they're going with it. Something's up here. Something's up. I don't know what's up, but something's up. Something's definitely up. I don't know what's up. All I know is definitely something's up. And I'm not, you know, because, you know, it's just like the House resolutions and all the proclamations from all the mayors and all that stuff. Like, that's for the dumb people to see that these people know what's up. But that's not some authoritative thing for Moors. Like, we're not looking at that like, ooh, or whatever. These people already know what's up. Right? They already know what's up. They know who the Moors are. They know that this is about nationality and birthrights. They know that this is not religious. They know that this is about constitutional enforcement and exercising rights. You know what this is. They know that the people don't know. And then once the people don't know, then they can play their little damn games. But you can go check it out. HB 3766. Illinois Moorish American Family Commission Act. They got minorities on the commission looking after Moorish children. This stuff is nuts. This is nuts. Yeah, and then the representative's name Slaughter. And you think you don't. That's why, right? First, honors to all the Moors who study. Honors to the studious Moors. Honors to you. And then honors to the Moors who as well. And so honors to the Moors who study. And honors to the Moors in the chat. who, if you're new to this, you could learn something from the chat when you come in our chat. There ain't no, you know what I mean, people talking dumb stuff in our chat. Right? Because this is about the truth. And the truth is, Noble Drew Ali's the man. And anybody else talking about anything else, be careful, watch them people, because a lot of these people should not be trusted, because they're really out here to try to injure you. Like, they're really out here to try to injure you. That's just what it is. You know, but don't hate, don't be mad about it. Just realize that that's what it is. Don't get mad, get wise. Peace and love to all the Moors. Honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Supreme honors to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to all the mothers. Spread love, not war. Islam, Moors.
But had to bring it back. Like Jordan in 45, want more by Cap. Prove that hip-hop lives, they deceived you with rap. Deceived you with language, deceived you with maps. Deceived you with civil rights, abandoned the human ones. No rights for child abuse by the pedophilians. For making visits to apologize to natives who really are the foreigners. Watch the pre-shapeshift, change form. We call him he, she, him, her. To make the Babylon fall with no timber. Got to stretch daily, keep the joints limber. Even Kareem made correct. From our cinder, you can't hide truth from a hardcore student. Black means death in the science of jurisprudence. In law, that's black status, dead civilly. All Moors are active, no passivity. No matter what you said, don't care what you saw. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter what you show or told me before. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter the games you play, no matter the score. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter if he's killed a cop, shattered his jaw. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. 101 questions, multiple lessons. Study like a super nerd, late night sessions. Finding out so much facts, how are you in doubt? Drew Ali brought you something to yell and shout about. If they're not convinced, their minds probably mince. But if they persist, pass a book like an assist. Most books I gave out never got returned, but got cases adjourned and ignorance unlearned. Got the debt discharged, collection took a settlement. Credit card company guilty of fraud, negligence. Standing on the square, no attorney to represent. A firm never swear, feathers up, I'm not Methodist. Great Seal medallion, crystal beads mala. Riding with Killmonger, CIA owned T'Challa. Be careful where you walk more, watch for disaster. My teacher's still a master on the platform of a pastor. No matter what you said, don't care what you saw. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter what you show or told me before. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter the games you play, no matter the score. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter if he's killed a cop, shattered his jaw. You're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. Honest to the Prophet Drew Ali, not Bristol. Don't worry what they say loud, but what they whisper. Spies everywhere tell me, you calling it snitching. Energy talks loud, I knew from the beginning. Mothers who they trusted told me he was tripping. All the honey dipping, their own grave they digging. Listen, I'm not new to this, I had the best tutorship. Moorish Science Temple, Arab Chamber rulership. Big brothers and clan mothers taught me the Feelings of visitors, most remain picketers and stay on perimeters. Inner chat solicitors, lower self prisoners, confused listeners, sold to inquisitors, colorable terms, respondent and petitioners, challenge jurisdiction of the CRA commissioners. No matter what you said, don't care what you saw, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter what you show or told me before, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter the games you play, no matter the score, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. No matter if he's killed a cop, shattered his jaw, you're not gonna get me to say I'm not a Moor. More.
Yo, Grand Sheik, man, these fools is pissing me off. I already told you not to entertain these fools, man. What's wrong with you?
You know I got him.
Yeah, I know, but, you know, it's getting to a point where I'm ready, yo. It's just some button cut shit I'm on, bro. Straight button cut.
The scope.
Any violation, you already know what it is. I ain't even into no long talking. I ain't even have to bring the thing for them, but, yo, them fools, y'all have to know their self and know their place.
You guys are killing yourselves. Always looking for a way out. Only way out is hard work. If you don't do it yourself, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna sit there and fucking listen to sellouts that's gonna help you get to where you need to get to. These weave-wearing, fat, lazy people.
Tongue scimitar left the shoots, dirty Moors are beneath. Replace the mother's head, have her carry their wreath. Traders with cock eyes and coffee-stained teeth, smoking a bogey. Wrote a book with Rami, thought he's my homie. Now he's flying cartoon flags, dancing like a drag queen. Whale face, when you look up what a fag mean. Camera L, big face, look up treason. Saying the Canaanland, but not seen at Temple 5 meetings. Using our address to disrespect is callous. See me and look down, eye contact leaves him paralysis. Moors begging to light him up like Aurora Borealis. Instead of dropping rolls on them, drop a Moorish palace. Hulk smashed to dust, blow away like blunt trash. Trader Moor so dirty, lips have a cunt rash. Claim they leave the station, just saw the punks pass. Butler Moore's claim consul general flashing a badge. Made in China by a Taj Tariq Bey dick rider. Selling false promises to die by witch fire. Burned at the stake under a heaping pile of Mahdi. The smell would be disgusting but make me happy. Don't drink enough water, watch how the lips chappy. Lying on Drew Ali, belly yellow like Aki. When dirty Moors ambush, they spit on but never slap me. Not even a punch. These online talking shit punks. Using Zooms to sell a package. 35 racks, violate Zodiac and Divine. 35 straps tied to a pole. 20 more for selling your soul. Use a fire hose when trolls spraying the trolls. Head kicked like a field goal. See me like a peephole. Keep you part and partial so you never be whole. Online scholars nowadays play a unique role. Sell a package to the right more buried in a deep hole. Wrapped in plastic, call them Snickers. Using my name to upload titles, got them triggered. Zombified in their lives, out eyes, fallen skippers. Abandoned Moorish ties to be spies for vicars. Ladies in the red dress call Hayes and Callaways. If they had obeyed, they wouldn't be dragged through the alleyways. I'm not cordial, thrown in a portal for immortals. Negro bystanders think it's paranormal, but it's formal. We don't argue or quarrel. Dirty Moor should get touched for acting clitoral strokes when provoked. Sellouts wearing the yoke, tilling the lands on bare hands and knees for jokes, or calling the clan. Deliver a sellout to the grand wizard, or make him lick a frozen pole during a blizzard, or waist high in a fish tank around his Richard. On my Clint Eastwood, I can't stand niggas. Don't wanna mirror Moors and act like slave pitchers. Watch for dirty Moors, they move like snake slither. Treason committed, under torture, quick to admit it. Cleverness of the righteous surprises the wicked.
Sitting on the couch all day, just sitting here telling y'all what to do. And y'all just sitting here fat, watching them, paying for these dumbass packages. There's no sugarcoating. That's what it is. That's what's happening.
Actually, lucky thing I don't have much more room to talk. I had enough to say too, you know. You guys ain't fucking with none of our leaders, bro. Not our Grand Sheik, anybody. And today Jamal got free up too. Rise of the Moors, you know what it is. We all over, worldwide, universal. Islam.
Open up a Quran, building with a Buddhist. Made his eyes wide open, said he never knew this. Pull out a second copy so he could review this. Returned in 2 days, said Buddhism, I'll do this. Never knew how far I can go without Lewis. Khalid called him father, we call him Master Buddhist. Scientology, Moorish Science, Peter Moon proved this. NOI knows nationality, only gives few tips. Elijah wore a fez, today they refuse it. Drunk of supreme wisdom, higher pharmaceutics. Lying about slavery, millions brought on 2 ships. Wasn't talking to you, but wear it if the shoe fits. 3,500 package, hustlers are too big. Should be burned at the stake, hustled are a nuisance. Damn, I need to calm down, broke fast with 2 splits. Take heads off, not just a nick like blue chips. Our people love lies, no matter what the truth is. God spelled backwards, face off with Anubis. Under his surveillance, most will say screw this. Get caught in jurisdictions where they always assume it. Divine feminine is really what the moon is. Used to battle abuses, emotions she induces. Walking inside a man, Gomorrah the youth is. Following rappers cross-dressing with blue lips. We need to tar and feather the ones that introduce this. No matter what's presented, evidence inconclusive. Trans use civil rights for blacks, it's elusive. With Algiers in Indiana, America is Tunis. Tangiers, Virginia, turbans and tunics. Press palms with 2 Moors, vibes like a Bloomis. Sipping Dr. Sebi juices, expelling the mucus. Near South Dakota, a place called Munich. Prophet painting at the temple, Negum Bay drew it. Even sent the peace pipe, of course trees we blew it. Sacred rituals, our ancestors knew it. Eating caps and stems of shrooms, views of the tulips. Dug into the dirt, talking to the root tips. Said cut me up for hot water, on take 2 sips. Stomach turning like a cruise ship, felt therapeutic. Told me not to throw the stalk, I'll use it as a true stick. Telling me a few sips and judges acting ruthless. Color of law abuses wanted us in nooses. Speaking with some beasts, said don't call them deuces. Watch how she seduces, carried off on broomsticks. That's a serenade which don't dare confuse this. Then I witnessed to this, do 2 flips and few tricks. Shaped like toothpicks, spinning like a Rubik's. Feeling heavy breathing, facing horns of 2 mooses. In the woods with Moors, near Massachusetts. Moorish militia training, aiming empty 2 clips. Honoring our prophets, Drew Ali Confucius. Breeze was the coolest, we broke out in units. Our company had predators with lizards trying to shoot us. More stabbed it in the neck of green slime oozes. Stretched out on a metal table, analyze their bruises. Fishy toxic smell from their bodily fluids. Scrolls said they helped build the Puma Punku ruins. To activate the higher self of melanated humans. Our blood pressure so high from resonance of humans. Said our brainwash was glass, shatter all illusions. Time is illusion, minds in confusion, de facto in collusion, world in delusion. Him wanna be her, her wanna be him. Coke price too high, sniff powdered vim. Weed man can't compete, dispensary treat. Makes rap sheets obsolete, take a back seat. Won't listen to Drew Ali, but following tweets. CannibalClub.org, seasoning dark meat. Trying to creep, murdered in a lost suite. All the wrong gangster buried in concrete. Watch the elite, it's your babies they eat. Keeping you sleep, your land land they is cheap. If you can't foreclose, gentrify and bulldoze. Dick tuck is what you get, one to pull hose. While exposed, dirty Moore's brown nose with the Drew Ali logos and a Pinocchio nose. They're still playing games, not saying names, fictitious claims, saying they're kings like James or prophets like Drew, forerunners like Garvey. Apples and oranges of Islam is not an army, militia is Moorish. My vision is Georgish, prudence as I walk this, wise like a tortoise, island not a turtle, but Alu Bayera, hummingbird land. Watch cunning word scams with 70 bands, pose for the gram, thong in the sands of foreigners' lands with name brands, promoting the fuckery, invoking a truckee, no pocket knife, we got a call in the ducky. They know who to frighten, we know who's enlightened, eyes getting widened, energy gets heightened, chakras aligning, push-ups inclining, don't expect GS to be the dirty Marco signing, no whining, while they racial profiling, no smiling, even when finding silver lining, watching the sun to check the timing, put the crystals out when the super moon shining.
Alternate timeline, right? Yeah, me. AI hijacked the organic reality. Yeah, facts. Look at me, everybody.
It's been 100 and few years since Drew Ali appeared. Now they wear umbrellas for turbans, weaves of hair. They wanna be a goddess of nature and hug a tree, recording themselves, showing camel toes. Look at me, always posing, got the air fat and dozing. Dog clothes, new airs, wear second-hand clothing. Carrying your food and making your children crawl. Always on social media, children barely a ball. Their nails always dirty, their hair uncombed. Lazy and fat toxicians, law unmowed. 5 baby daddies, 6 baby mothers. 9 years of suffering won't wake a brother.
You know what I mean? We're on an alternate timeline, right? Yeah, me. AI hijacked the organic reality. Yeah, facts. Look at me, everybody.
It's been 100 and few years since Drew Ali appeared. Now they wear umbrellas for turbans, weaves of hair. They wanna be a goddess of nature and hug a tree, recording themselves, showing camel toes. Look at me, always posing, got the air fat and dozing. Dog clothes, new airs, wear second-hand clothing. Carrying your food and making your children crawl. Always on social media, children barely a ball. Their nails always dirty, their hair uncombed. Lazy and fat toxicians, law unmowed. 5 baby daddies, 6 baby mothers. 9 years of suffering won't wake a brother. You sleep too much, is what Drew Ali said. Only fans in a thong with the baby on the bed, asking mom, why you doing this, acting like a whore. Pause the striptease, kick him out and close the door. Go back on camera, twerk and look at me, twirling on a pole with your daughter, that's a he. He feels like a girl cause no dad around, calling himself matriarch, rapper sash around. Money phone and pics, throwing cash around. In front of your ears by Negroes, getting slapped around. Big shades to hide bruises on live she cruises. The heirs learn bad behavior, making excuses. Take responsibility from parents, they learn rudeness. Wise inherit honor, shame is claimed by foolish. Mind manipulated mothers, excessive demands. Heirs looking uncomfortable, twerking on the gram. Lying ass parents say it's an African dance, making man prance under the hypnotic trance. Mind overblown, they should be the throne. Look at me, Medusa, turn your dumbass to a stone.
Look at me, everybody, T&I-G, that's lame. Look at me, everybody, T&I-G, that's lame, y'all. Look at me, everybody, T&I-G, that's lame. Look at me, everybody, T&I-G, that's lame, y'all. Growing up on a Texas side, digital sex side, keyboards collide, it's all job, hands bounce on keypad, getting big mad in real life, just bounce like white pads, as time pass, move fast, digital alien, 5, 6, 7 cents, gotta buy for element, magnetic gradient, matrix sucking your blood, unplug, great again, go play in the mud, 5 minutes of fake ass soul, feedogram love, criminal creation, deep the next man's stuff, I'm Xing almanac, that's an original one, 5 maps to spread facts like a scientist does, I'm on a land that's exactly where Lemuria was, astral projects that, how did Buzz show up, did he come out of lamp, on a flying rug, from Atlantis, Mike Master with a saber that cuts, look at me, everybody, P&I-G, that's lame, look at me, everybody, P&I-G, that's lame, y'all, look at me, everybody, P&I-G, that's lame, look at me, everybody, P&I-G, that's lame, y'all, look at me. That's lame. Look at me, everybody. P&I-G, that's lame, y'all.
This is what it feels like. 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 People running up to me that I don't know. Are you a prince? They ask. Tell them I'm from Morocco. Look me up and down with a smile, not a frown. Turn their brain to water. Watch their lower self drown. Wanna touch my antennas and steal my energy. Eyes bulge, telling them I'm always King Edward V. When it comes to facts, with more they get beggarly. They ask Morocco where? The farthest northwesterly. With every question asked, I respond cleverly. All dependents won't explain expertly. Going in the wallet, pull out pictures with feathers, breaking down the ring, then the mason confesses. He's at 33 degrees, now the convo stretches like yoga into esoteric metaphysic lessons. When my people aren't like me, he impresses. When we take Moorish science to the highways and hedges. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
They tried to get you to think again. That's the profit. I'm upright, don't need a friend. And you can't stop this. I'ma write with my pen. Violate me and I'ma sin rinse again. Remain calm, shake it off, then it's in again. That's in the police out, just the silence men. When they bust through your door, you won't breathe again. Nationality will show you how to live again. It can change the predicament you're living in. You can heal the whole world without medicine. Only truth can make you a better man. Why lie? Cause you got paid to murder men. Then you try to lock them up when they riot in. That's okay, cause for freedom I'm diving in. With no knowledge you come back to die again. Resurrect me not, cause I'd rather be one with a lie.
This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Peace, Moors. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Islam to all the Moors. Honors to the Prophet Noble Juali. We're back in July. We're here again. When the vid was going on, we had the temple available. Temple was open. Shut down for a little bit. See what they were doing. But we're back July. The Moorish Museum, the Canaanland Moorish Museum, because there's a lot missing, but we have a lot in the Moorish Museum. So honors to the Moors who did the tours last year when we first started kicking off with the tours, actually doing it. Even though it's been a museum. Once we had the building, it was a museum. The history of the Moors. That's part of what our position was. Ain't nobody know about this, so let's let them know. And Moors. It was Moors that were in there. Cutting out stuff. Put it on the glass, get the measuring tape, measuring the wall, putting the nails hanging, make sure everything's good, spray it on everything. So it's an actual museum for the Moors who haven't did the tour yet. We haven't did the tour yet. The ones who did the tour, they were rather impressed. They were rather impressed that it was actually a tour. It was actually a tour of Moorish history that these people been studying, and some stuff they didn't even know. Because we're always getting better. So the tours start next week, Monday, 11 to 7 p.m. You just email canaanlandguide@gmail.com. and you'll book your spot so you can get on the tour. 11 to 7. It's probably about 40 minutes. Probably about a 40-minute tour. About 40 minutes, and with the building and the oohs and ahs and all that stuff and the stories and whatever, is about an hour. That's not bad for a tour. An hour. And then of course, we do the virtual. If you're not here, you could also do the live on Facebook or Messenger or DM, Google, Skype, whatever we got. Whatever we have, so you could see what we have. So, the Moorish Science Temple of America, Canaanland Moorish Museum, will be back up and running again next week. 11 to 7 p.m. It's going to be every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 11 to 7. So we'll go back again to the Moorish Guide. We'll go back again to the Moorish Guide. 2005. So you could know. Have a greater perspective of what this is about. Our location, 2530 Eglinton Avenue West at Richardson. Not the Eglinton Avenue in Mississauga. Not the Eglinton Avenue, Mississauga. The Eglinton Avenue near Kiel. Alright, so we're near Kiel. So as soon as you start talking about Burnham Thorpe and all that stuff, you went to the wrong Eglinton Avenue. Not the Eglinton Avenue in Mississauga. Not that one. The Eglinton Avenue, West End, Toronto. Moorish guideposts. Autumnal equinox issue. Nationality defined and its legal status implications. Nationality is that quality which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or a state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while domicile determines one's civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization. Anyone who is just a minor level of knowledge of the contemporary history of North America cannot fail to recognize that persons who have borne the brands of Negro, blacks, and coloreds, etc., have traditionally suffered from status issues and the related economic and social problems emanating from the same. We could all agree. We could all sit back and take a look at the legacy of melanated people on the planet. Right? The legacy of our people. And then, as you look through the legacy of our people, there's a section of our people in the history of North America who classified ourselves as Negro, black, colored, doesn't matter what we call ourselves, we're the gods of Egypt. Now, haven't these people been suffering status issues and related economic and social problems over the past how much ever years you want to count? Right? So we could admit that there's a problem. Moors call it the Negro problem. Some other people call it that too, but Moors call it the Negro problem. And the Negro is a problem. Because the Negro doesn't want nationality. So the economic and social problems exist. Period. So now what is it that the people are going to do? Either they're going to go get a nationality, or the conditions that they're complaining about are going to continue. Right? This is that simple. This is not some advanced thing. Prophet Noble Drew Ali introduced nationalization to the Moors of North America and instructed the Moors to go by and obey the laws of the federal, state, county governments. This statement must be qualified by those who know law, due to the fact that many among the masses are lacking important details of civil liberties knowledge and their inalienable birthrights. During that time period within the Moorish movement, 1920s, when the Prophet made the statement, the individual states of the United States of America were sovereign. Local and state governments function by constitutional law and operating according to the state's constitutions. No state constitution was at variance to the national constitution. The state and federal both were to function with written delegated power limitations according to the national constitution for the United States Republic. See Article 6 of the Constitution. And this is the supreme law of the land. And then they take the Constitution and they put it over there. And then they deal with melanated people under Negro Acts and Black Codes. Period. So it's either you're going to have a nationality, or you're going to be subject to the Negro and the Black codes. This is not advanced. And remember, no state constitution was at variance to the national constitution. No state was at variance. Right? This is why when they have Chicago home rule and all that stuff, and people use that. I think that is because if you're home, obviously you're the ruler. Obviously you say what goes. If you're the authority. Now this is what happens when the Negro, Black, Colored, African organization, whatever we call ourselves, doesn't matter. When these people don't have a nationality, and then all the negative stuff is happening to them, and they can't figure out how come all this negative stuff is happening to us. At that same time, listen to this now. And remember, they're already Negro, Black, Colored. They already have them. Right? So that means this thing's open now. Because the Negro, Black, Colored people are out the way. Counter to the supreme law of the land, the form of governance for the United States Republic was under color, changed. This came about progressively after some deviant political acts took place. One of the deviant and negating political acts that have been historically called the New Deal. These acts took place under the administration of the Franklin D. Roosevelt in the year 1933. This date calculates 3 years and 8 months after the Prophet Noble Drew Ali veiled his form, July 1929. Shortly after he received a 50-year mandate for the land. This mandate was confirmed when Noble Drew Ali was in Cuba at the 6th convention of the Pan-American Conference in 1928, causing a major impact upon the wealth of North America, leading to the New Deal in 1933, which soon left the nation bankrupt. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated in the Divine Warning for the Nations that the gold, silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone, and without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work. So Drew Ali goes to the Pan American Conference, and it's verified with the picture of him sitting with the legs crossed, holding the Moroccan flag, U.S. banner, wearing the sombrero. And anybody who's Moorish, that's a scholar, has already been hunting up, down, sideways, through for this 6th Pan-American Conference, since they have the minutes for all the other ones. And ain't nobody getting any word on this 6th Pan-American Conference. No one's talking about it, not even Spanish-speaking people who say they're Latin and they're gonna be their own republics and whatever like that. None of these people know what's going on with the 6th Pan-American Conference. They could tell you about every other one. Every other one, something's going to come up. 6-1, nothing. So Drew Ali talking about all this constitution, this enforced constitution, national constitution, American constitution, him talking all that. Why do you think they were calling him president for? Do you think they're calling him president because of some organization or something? Remember, he has the mandate. He ain't got anything to prove to anybody. And the gold, silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone. And these citizens, who majority of them were traders, took your gold, your silver, and your commerce, and they went and hooked themselves up good and left you here suffer right now, which is why you're complaining and why you got to do lives and all that stuff to try to tell you to wake the hell up. So you didn't wake up into this mess that you know, the Moors, this and that. Don't get mad at the Moors. Don't get mad at the Moors. We're the only ones holding this stuff together. Because if it wasn't for Moors, majority of you people would already be in the ovens. You're lucky it's just shot in the street that you're getting for them to get rid of you. You're lucky it's give you shots and all that. Because you haven't noticed that all the stuff that you were saying, that'll never happen. Oh yeah, well, the stuff is happening right now. So where are you at in your frame of mind with regard to what's going on? Because you might think that it's nothing now. But nationality is the order of the day. Nationality is the order of the day. And if you want a national, free government, you better be it. And stop playing around waiting for these Moors who robbed your treasury to do something for you. It is important to recognize that the Moorish tradition of instructions commanding the enforcement of the Constitution for the United States of North America and the territories under the jurisdiction of the United States for all Moorish Americans and the citizens is paramount to understanding an important civic thrust of the Moorish movement in North America. In consideration and review of de facto actions taken by persons occupying seats of government relative to the United States, it is important to observe some of the countermeasures instituted to thwart the progressive works of Noble Drew Ali. That is what we're talking about. Some more is about with always having to prove something with regard to your status in order for you to be convinced that it works. Like there's a more natural way that this can go. Why? Because it's nationality, and the root word of nationality is nature. So why not be in harmony with it? Because it's nature. It's not you went and got this because you paid 50 notes and got a card. There's people occupying your seat, meaning not the actual seat that they're sitting in, but the concept that they have that they call government is our stuff from the temple. That once they opened the safe for the sellouts Once the traders rated what, because they're looking at it for their selfish self. They're looking at it for their selfish self. When they say nationality and birthrights, they're not looking at it like how some of these Moors out here looking at it on the phone with people for 3 hours and all that, just because they care about them. Trying to actually do some real good. Not these people telling you 300 after a conversation. They have 300. You're more? Yeah. But why is it 300? Because we just had a phone conversation. Well, you know, serving is worthy of his hire and all that BS. And that's how you give Noble Drew Ali all the honors. Nobody else has to get any honors. Shut up. Drew Ali gets it all. In the year 1933, the then presiding president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, a master mason, declared the nation, United States, bankrupt and asked the Congress for war powers. Under the War Powers Act, Roosevelt issued the Presidential Proclamation number 2039. This proclamation was issued March 6, 1933, before Roosevelt was inaugurated a president. Logically, this presented problems of unconstitutionality, and thus Proclamation 2040 was issued March 9th, 1933, after Roosevelt took oath to the presidency. Thus and upon this proclamation, martial law was instituted for the purpose of temporarily suspending all bank transactions and to create the guise of a suspended constitution. Under this proclamation guise, writs of habeas corpus would and could be abused by politicians and their franchise corporate state entities. This misuse of the war powers established protections for racketeering persons in government who were in opposition to the formally secured rights of the people. Of the people. Key. Of the people. Because the people is really where the authority is. Where the people think that they're Negro, black, colored, then they're not involved. They're property of the corporate state. And the corporate states have been masquerading around as if they're the national de jure states. And Congress and everybody else has been bought. Which now you're supposed to stop supporting them and be in harmony with the people. The corporate states soon after, and under the newly established color of law, adopted for themselves private law for their governance, in opposition to the Constitution. In opposition to the Constitution. Because there are those people that are in opposition to the Constitution, and they'll enforce everything else. And tell you about every other thing except just enforcing the Constitution, the supreme law of the land? Why are we talking about enforcing anything else? If there's a supreme law of the land, then why are we talking about some act over there? But again, if we're Aboriginal Indigenous, then we govern ourselves. We don't need permission from Massa to be who we are. We have a prophet told us to be ourselves. Who are you listening to? You going to listen to your prophet, or are you going to listen to some foreigner? And then you get so caught up in the nationality thing that you say, oh yeah, being myself is some paper or some card, or and being yourself is you did a natal chart. You never did a natal chart. You should probably go do a natal chart, so you can really start knowing thyself. And then anywhere, I don't care what culture it is, if they say they do natal chart, go get one too from them. You can really know thyself, so you can be in tune with what it is that's going on. We realized a long time ago, there's going to be no Canaanland Moors if it's not us doing it. It's not going to exist if it's not us doing it. These Moors right here found out the truth about their nationality and birthrights, and then started supporting their own and creating their own, being themselves while doing it too. It's because of Moors saying, we want to do this, we're gonna do this. We're gonna know who we are. Why the hell not? We're gonna be very aware of who we are. We're gonna study and all that. No one is gonna do it if you don't do it. Yeah, it's just you. Yeah, it was 13 years ago. It was just me and two other Moors. It was me and two other Moors. Now, you know, Moors all over the world. From three Moors. From three Moors to worldwide, like worldwide. These acts, the color of law stuff, these acts, in effect, were designed to neutralize the sovereignty of the natural person and to steal the birthrights, protections of the natural people, which were secured by the supreme law of the land, being the Constitution. Secured. Secured by the supreme law of the land. Not given, secured. So because they're inalienable. But because the rights of the people, the natural people, are inalienable and their birthrights, they already exist. Constitution just secures. This is why, in these days, most occupational politicians of the states, the federal and the quasi-government agencies and entities, no longer refer to the United States as the Republic. Which form of government it was confirmed as being within the context of the Constitution. Article 4, Section 4. The following are some impacting excerpts from Noble Drew Ali's writings, governmental principles, literary declarations, instructions, and teachings. Caveat emptor. Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones, and follow the Prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest heights for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such a realm. Prophet Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement. As the Moorish hordes increase here in America, all of the Moors are active and not passive. A member's interests can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before, the Prophet knows where every member is along the road. Voice of the Prophet. Come, good people, because I, the Prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery which you have now, need every one of you who think your condition can be better. This is a field open to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the European and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. This is what was meant when it was said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you." Religious controversy. The nations do not want the truth. It is too stern. But until they accept it and find out where it is, there will continue to be religious controversy. The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, "This is no social organization. It is a divine and national movement. By you being born here does not make you a citizen. One must proclaim his nationality to be recognized as a citizen." Note, the foregoing statements and information is known by Moorish Americans, heads of government, world scholars, etc. It is researchable by any interested natural person or neophyte. The same is presented for all active Moorish Americans and the true American citizens of all the American states for their approbation, uplifting, and encouragement. (2005). 2005. You see what it is. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Study, study, study. Everybody knows. Peace and love to all the Moors in the chat. Honors to you. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to all the mothers. Divine honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam to all active, progressive, competent, faithful Moors. Islam.